If you are ready to see part 2 of my palette collection, then stick around. Hi there, it's Hélène and welcome back to HMM Makeup or Makeup. Or if it's your first time, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you see here on this little channel and that you will consider subscribing if you're not already. Today's video is part 2 of a highly requested video series, which is my palette collection. I have a pretty darn big palette collection, so this is going to be 4 videos so that I don't have you falling asleep with a 2-hour video. I am going to be covering a number of brands today, some large, some not so large, including Tarte, Morphe, BH Cosmetics, Makeup Geek, and a number of smaller indie brands as well. And I look forward to hearing your comments regarding my collection, or at least this quarter of it that we're going over today, in the comments. I will stop talking, let's get on with the show, and I'll wrap it up at the end. So the first one that I have here is the Nubian 2, and this one was rather interesting when I did a few looks with it. I really love the bottom 2 rows. It created such an amazing look, especially with Lila and Egypt. It is a beautiful, beautiful set of colors. I do have to say I was quite intimidated by it though. Next, I have a bunch of these 9-pan palettes. Saharan 2 is gorgeous. It is really a beautiful, beautiful color story. And the ones that are most exciting to me are the burgundy and this very, very light color out here. You'll hear that as a repeating pattern in what draws my attention. It's a beautiful palette. This one is a newer one in my collection, the Warrior, and I got it just because I wanted to try it out, and all I've done so far is swatch it, but I do look forward to doing a few looks with it, especially with Mino and Bakwa. I'd like to do a look with those two. I think this one is beautiful. The color story in the Warrior 3 is absolutely gorgeous, and the ones that draw my attention the most is this triangle down here. I think those colors are absolutely beautiful. And the Festival palette is gorgeous. The reds in here are just beautiful. Well, red and orange. These guys call to me, along with this one as a more neutral color in the crease. They are really, really beautiful. With green eyes, I love to do a red eyeshadow look. And this one, I have no idea why Juvia's Place discontinued it. It's such a beautiful color. The greens up here and this one, such a beautiful color. It's such a unique color story, and I'm very happy to have it in my collection. Another one that I absolutely love having in my collection, it's probably my favorite of the whole bunch, is the Zulu, and it's because of the lime green right in the middle. That is such a beautiful lime green. It's probably the second favorite in my collection after XOXO in the Jean-Michel Basquiat palette that I showed you from Urban Decay. But it's a nice tacky lime green, and it's gorgeous on the inner to center lid. Beautiful palette. And now the Douce from Juvia's Place is one that I used on camera, and I did a look in French because douce means soft in French, and it also means, it's also short for douceur, which is a gastronomic delight, like a pastry of some sort. Like a douce is associated with pastry, and that's how the names in this palette make sense. So tart, chocolate, cream, puffs, custard, you can see how it all goes together, and so it's a very much French-inspired palette, and I do find the color story to be one of the most unique in Juvia's Place, although Juvia's Place palettes are so unique for the most part, at least these 9-pan palettes. Another one that is a recent favorite from Juvia's Place is the Nomad. I really like the color story in this palette. It is a nice grungy option, and it kind of reminds me almost of a mix of between Subculture and Sultry from ABH. I like all of these 9 pans. I think they're so interesting. The only one that I'm kind of iffy about is the way they what they chose as a yellow. But apart from that, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful palette. And a few face palettes from Juvia's Place. Now this one is technically an eyeshadow and or face palette. It's the Queen palette that was a collaboration between Fumi and Juvia's Place. And I do have to say, apart from these two down here, I mostly use these as eyeshadows, but they are definitely a grab and go one palette, and you can create a look with just these 6 shadows. And as you know already, I'm a sucker for purple and pink, and so I don't mind this palette at all if I could get the plastic to cooperate. And then these two are newer additions to my face palette collection, and this one is my favorite out of the two. I really like this color. If you remember from the ABH Gradient palette, these are some blush colors that I really like, so I gravitate to B for sure. Although I like Lena and Yara as well. And then this one is one that I am not as big of a fan of compared to Volume 2. And it is more of a palette that I use as eyeshadow, kind of like the Queen palette as well. This is a very, very pigmented color for me to try to use on the cheek. So I tend to use these as eyeshadow with more of a focus on these when I'm doing a look. I can get away with this one as a blush, but I have to be careful. Now for the latest additions to my Juvia's Place collection. I went for 7 minis while they were having their 50% off sale. They had quite a few palettes that were on a great discount. This one is the Nudes. I do want the taupe, but I could not get it on discount, so I went for the Nudes instead. This is probably the most basic palette that I would ever get from Juvia's Place, but they are pretty shadows. I just have not touched them. I have not even hauled these yet, so you're seeing these before I officially declare them in my collection. But I'm doing the collection video for 2020, so I included them just as I did the new ABH palettes. This is the Chocolates palette, again 6 pan. Now this one I find very interesting and am looking forward to playing with. The Berries is right up my alley. I'm so excited to have this one in my collection. Look at these shadows. Are they not just gorgeous? This one is calling to me so much. This one and this one will do such a nice look, no question. And the Violets, oof, so excited about this one. Look at this. Look at this color story. I could not nab the Mauves, so the Mauves and the Taupes are 2 that are outstanding in my collection, but I'm very happy to have the Berries and the Violets, and this Sweet Pinks is such a beautiful palette. Look at this. I cannot wait to do a few looks with this set of 6 shadows. They're just so beautiful. These 3 mattes call to me so much, and this one down here reminds me a little bit of Barb from the Amrezy palette. A little bit. I haven't used it yet, so I don't know exactly how close it is. And then these 2 are the newer ones from Juvia's Place. The Nubian Glow is more of a yellow palette. Looks like this. This one and this one, they have my name on them for sure. I cannot wait to try those 2. And well, I'm looking forward to trying all of them, but these 2 at the end are really calling my name. And then this one is the absolute belle of the ball. I am so happy to have the Nubian Royal because it combines some of my favorite shades. So a deep midnight blue, which reminds me of one of the shadows in the Cheers to the Beauty from Colored Rain. And just the color story itself, there are a couple of very easygoing shades here, and then you can just jazz it up so easily with everything else in this 6-pan. This is a very versatile 6-pan, and I'm so happy to have it in my collection. So much to play with, so much to play with. Now let's go through a few palettes that I have from Smashbox. Now this first one is not a palette, but I could not resist showing you. It's the Rosemantic blush. It's kind of like between a blush and a highlighter, and I absolutely love it. And since it's part of the Smashbox line of things that I have, I thought I would just give it a second. A couple of contour and highlight palettes from Smashbox. This is a fantastic contour palette that I'm very happy to have, and it is an automatic in my travel bag. As is this highlighter palette that is, in my opinion, a perfect companion to the contour palette with 3 highlighters. Very compact to bring along with me. This is in contour. This is my newest addition from, actually, in my overall collection for face palettes. This is the newest one that I have with a blush, a bronzer, contour, and highlighter, and a few more highlighter shades in here as well, and a nice mirror. And this is the newest eyeshadow palette from Smashbox that I have, and it is a cover shot type palette with a liner, a black liner that comes with the palette, and I have yet to use it. It is pretty new to my collection. And I have this Smashbox Shape Matters palette, and this is a palette, again, that is really great to have on the go because it has 9 eyeshadows, it has the contour kit, and it also has brow products on the far left. And so if I can only bring one single palette somewhere, this is a palette that very easily makes the cut. And finally, there is my Pan That palette for this year. So spoilers, I'm going to show you the inside. This is where I am at, and it is a palette that I'm very much hoping to finish next year, and I have done some significant damage in this palette, which is why a lot of other neutral palettes have been pretty much ignored because I've been working on this one. You will see a video of me offering up the candidates for my Pan That palette for 2021, and I seriously hope that you will vote for which palette you would like to see me pan more than any of the other ones. But this one has been so good to me. The matte exposure unfortunately is no longer available, but it was such a solid palette from Smashbox. I have a couple of palettes from Benefit. This is one of them that I have, a face palette that is called the Complexionista. And you will see that the cream contour shades of number 1, number 2 Boing are gone. Those are concealers. And I have the Hula Light, the What's Up Cream highlighter, and then the Dandelion Twinkle. This is a fantastic palette to take if I am going out and about, but it was a lot more useful when it had the concealers in it. And what I plan on doing is if I just want something very small to bring with me, I'll just add whatever concealer I want in here to have on the go. And then this one is a Tarte Magnetic palette, but inside is the Cheekathon from Benefit. So these 3 and these 2 are from the Cheekathon. And I have a couple of Tarte blushes. This is the Concept blush, and this one down here is a blush from Cliona. And this is a mini Hula bronzer, and this is a full-size Hula bronzer. So that is why I'm showing it to you, because those are the 2 Benefit type palettes that I have. And like I said, this is a Tarte Magnetic palette, and I'm going to show you a few more of those. Since I went into the Tarte Magnetic palettes, I'm just going to show you a bunch of magnetic palettes and their contents, even though it's kind of a little bit out of order. So I've got 4 more of these. I have a total of 10 of these Tarte palettes because they are the most durable, fantastic magnetic palette. They hold, magnetic palettes, I should say. They hold 25 regular round panned single shadows. And this palette houses my Looksy Beauty collection. I have another 4 pans of Looksy Beauty actually, and I do like everything that is in this palette along with the other ones that are actually sequestered in my quad of the month quads for now, but I do really like this brand. And this is my Touch of Glam. Yes, Touch of Glam Beauty, just making sure that I'm not mistaken. And I really do like these very, very much, especially the shifter shades here. And this is the Vivids collection. And then we've got the Unicorn highlighters here. Another really fantastic indie brand. And here I have a hodgepodge. I have 8 Sugar Pill singles up here. I have a couple from Makeup Forever. And then I have 4 single Sephora shadows down on the bottom. And one last one from the Tarte palette. The other 5 that I have are empty right now. These are all of my Viseart palettes, and there is a space right here, and the Dark Edits is what is getting added. You'll see it come in a haul very, very soon. This is the Dark Mattes, and I've got Petit Pro 1 and 2, and this is the number 5 Soleil. Some more magnetic palettes. As I said, I have some more of these, a total of 5, but I don't think you need to see each and every one of them if some of them are empty. One other Tarte magnetic palette I have is a 9-pan. You will see this one very often in videos because I do use this one for the mirror that is in the palette. And I also use some neutral singles some are from Morphe, some are from Sephora. And I use them just as a complement for looks that I'm doing if I just want something neutral that I want to just get quick access to. Very, very useful 9-pan palette. I also have a magnetic palette that used to house 12 ColourPop singles. I made a ColourPop order and managed to get 12 single individual shadows. I don't keep them in this magnetic palette, but when I want to do a quick singles arrangement on the fly, this is a palette that's very nice to use. I also have a number of palettes from Makeup Geek that are 9-pan magnetic palettes, and these are fantastic. And I do think that I'm going to complement my quad of the month with a 9-pan type edition. If you are interested, let me know if that is a variant of the quad of the month that you might want to see. I might do a 9-pan per quarter is what I'm thinking. And I ended up nabbing 3 of these because I did end up thinking I would do a quarterly 9-pan, so I'm ready to go if that's what I decide to do. Speaking of Makeup Geek, I also have this palette, and it looks like this. I had to repress one of the shadows, but I really do like this palette. And it is called All That Glitters. It's a color story that I really quite enjoy from the brand. And of course, this is the old style of packaging from Makeup Geek, but what I did was I purchased a bunch while they were on clearance. And as a matter of fact, I can show you this palette from Colored Rain. I have 4 of these magnetic palettes because I think they are absolutely fabulous. And they are on clearance, by the way, right now, if you are watching this pretty much when I upload it. And there's quite a bit in this palette. There is over here all Makeup Geek singles, and you'll see some are missing because they are part of my quad of the month palettes right now. These are also Makeup Geek face palette items. These down here are from that 12-pan of the ColourPop singles that I said I purchased. And down here is 7 of the 8 of the semi-precious palette from ColourPop that was released a couple of holiday seasons ago. There's just one missing because it's in one of my quad of the month. And then this whole set right here is the 25L, which was the Pride palette for last year from Morphe. So that is what is in this palette. And as you can tell, you can house so many singles in these Colored Rain palettes. And they have a very generous mirror. They're fantastic. In this Colored Rain palette, I am housing the 35S, I believe. It's Such a Gem palette. This is down here the Jaclyn Hill palette, and these round pans are from the Such a Gem and also from the 39 Dare to Create palette. That's what those are from. So mostly, well, these are all Morphe shadows, except for this one, and I don't remember. It was a highlighter from somewhere. I don't remember where I got it from. And I have another one of these magnetic palettes that I have yet to use, but I do plan on doing a little bit more depotting this year, so I will put it to good use. And finally, this is the last one that I have to show you, and a lot of what is in here is Juvia's Place and Colored Rain. So I have a few palettes from Juvia's Place. I have the Magic palette, it's pink, Masquerade palette, the Saharan, and the Nubian. And I have the Beauty Rust from Colored Rain right here. I have some, I have the Cheers to the Beauty right down here. Hopefully you can see them. And up here I have Makeup Forever. All the way down here and here I have Makeup Forever. Those 9-pan palettes that came out. I believe I got the 1, the 3, and the 4, if I'm not mistaken. Just one that I'm missing. I think the number 2 is the one I'm missing. But I'm a very big fan of the Colored Rain shadows and the Juvia's Place shadows. These ones from Makeup Forever are kind of nice because they are smaller. I can fit more in a magnetic palette. And these 3 are from an Annabelle trio that I got as well. Annabelle is a Canadian brand. But all of these, I come into this palette and the other 2 palettes like this when I am looking for some inspiration for another quad of the month. And I have 3 other palettes that I use as well for inspiration for quad of the month. This is a palette from Clionadh Cosmetics. Look at the design. The design is so gorgeous. I actually have this design as the background on my cell phone. It's just so beautiful. It has a full mirror. I don't want to blind you. These are the more basic colors, a lot of mattes from Clionadh Cosmetics. These are highlighters, and then these are unique single shot highlighter pans that are one of a kind. And then I put these here because I am a sucker for lime green type shadows, and I like to have all of these at a glance in this one magnetic palette. This is a fantastic, fantastic, beautiful magnetic palette. The only thing I have to say is it's not as strong of a magnet as other palettes, and so I'm very careful when I use it. If you're going to pick one of the palettes that I'm showing you, these magnetic palettes would be my #1 choice. The next palette from Clionadh Cosmetics has all the other singles that I want in one shot. I did order a bunch of mystery bag singles from Clionadh Cosmetics with the certainty that I would like everything that they sent me, and I do. So I just put them in a 36 type arrangement. So each one of these magnetic palettes easily holds 36 single shadows. And I come in here as well for quad of the month purposes because all of these are absolutely beautiful. Everything I've ordered from Clionadh, everything, I have loved. Everything. And these are the stained glass collection singles that I have. And it is so hard for me to show you the beauty of these on camera. They really come through in person. And so if you've never tried any of the multi-chromes from Clionadh, I cannot suggest them enough. They are so, so, so beautiful. And they're supposed to have a sale in December. So if you have been curious about Clionadh, that would be a really good time to check them out. And finally from Clionadh, I also have a couple of quads. You would have heard me talk about these quads if you've watched this channel at all. These are highlighters, and you can absolutely not see how beautiful these are just by looking at the pan. You have to see them on the eye. So I would strongly suggest doing a search on this channel for the Aftershock highlighters from Clionadh, because you will see them in various looks that I create, and they are just beautiful. I'm hoping that that comes through on camera. Every single one of these is beautiful. High Voltage is a favorite of mine. It's a lime green highlight. They're just beautiful, beautiful highlighters, and I recommend them very often, and they are still for sale on the Clionadh website. I showed you some Colored Rain, so let me just show you some more. These are empty palettes that I use from Colored Rain. I managed to get them for $5 each, and these are great for on-the-go kind of shuffling of singles. I do shuffle around my singles quite a bit, and these are great as temporary palettes, and they are a different design from my more standard magnetic palettes, so they're easy to keep straight what is in here. And I do have a fourth one that holds the Vivids collection, and so this one is always exactly the same because I keep the same arrangement as the full Vivids. What I did was I got the Vivids palette on sale and then depotted so that I can have these loose if I want to, but still in the same configuration as the original Vivids palette. I highly recommend these magnetic palettes from Colored Rain if you want something as 16 pen or less. They do come on sale for as little as $5, as I mentioned. Now, in Colored Rain, I did talk about Cheers to the Beauty, and I did talk about Beauty Rust that have been depotted. This is one from Colored Rain that I will not depot, at least for a long time, and it is the Queen of Hearts, because I think this palette is such a beautiful palette, beautifully curated as is, that I really don't want to do anything with it. I think that it is perfect exactly as it is, and I love so many of the shadows in here. Ladyship, Duchess, Noblewoman is gorgeous on the eye, as is Dethrone and Queen Mother. There is not very much in here that is not absolutely beautiful. If I want a no-fail, I only have 5 minutes kind of a look, this is a very easy palette to go to get that result. This is a palette that I don't have any reservations in gifting to someone, and I definitely have done so. It's just such a beautiful palette and very encouraging for folks who are intimidated by eyeshadow but want to stretch a tiny bit. This is a great palette to give as a gift. 3 more palettes from Colored Rain. This is the Juicy Boost. I decided to pick the one that is in book style, and I have done a few looks with this palette, and I don't know what people are so unhappy about. I like everything on the first page, so to speak, and also on the next page. If anything, I probably like this one a bit more because I'm such a sucker for colored mattes. But everything in the palette so far I have been so impressed with, especially these guys up here. This first column I was nervous about, but it created a beautiful look. I went in with the pink, and I've also gone in with the blue, and they were beautiful. The only one I found didn't build up quite as much as I would like was Cucumber Avocado, but that's it. Everything else worked really well. And so I'm quite happy to have it in my collection, and I like it in this format because it matches the size of 2 other palettes that I have from Colored Rain. And speaking of, the next one I have is the Power palette, and I think this palette is so amazing. It is a beautiful 9-pan, super well curated palette. It does remind me of the Queen of Hearts, but more in the purpley pink version. Everything in here creates gorgeous looks. Respect, Truth, Alibi, Revenge, they are all absolutely beautiful, and I do find that 4 mattes makes this palette quite useful, and a color such as Deception and Testify make it easier to create a look that can be a little bit toned down if you want to. It's a beautiful, beautiful palette, and I was delighted that the colors are even better than I thought they would be. And finally, this is the crown jewel, the one that I almost had get away from me, and it's the Safari Rain. This disappeared and I thought it was gone, and then they brought it back and I jumped on the opportunity to get it. You can still get a few of the singles, I think, from this color story. This is a gorgeous palette, and the ones that I love the most are Green Valley, Amazon Basin, and Lioness. This Congo Basin is also quite beautiful. I'm not as big on teals, but this one is pretty decent, and this deep chocolatey color is gorgeous. Every look I've done with this palette has been beautiful. I'm really quite happy to have nabbed it when it made a reappearance. It's a really nice palette. Next is a brand that is pretty new to my collection, and that is Sigma. First up is the Enchanted, and the box and the palette look very much the same, which I appreciate. It does come with a brush, just as do Urban Decay and ABH palettes. And oh, I do like the design of the protector, by the way. And this Enchanted palette I am a lot more interested in from here out than these deep shadows on the outer edge. I think that they're kind of a weird pairing with the other colors, but that's just me. And of course, Sigma is known for their brushes, so I do appreciate that it is a double-ended brush with the two types of brush heads that I would appreciate. And I do really like this color story, and what I like even more is that it is very different from the other Sigma palette that I did also purchase. I have not used it all that much. They are pretty new to my collection, so I don't have a ton to offer other than what I have found from swatching them. This next one is the Untamed palette, and again the protector is a very interesting look. And again, a double-ended brush. I do like the fact that it's a black handle because it matches this palette. This out of the two is a palette whose color story in its entirety I understand. Enchanted, I'm happy that there are about 10 shadows in it that I'm pretty excited about. But in this case, all of them I find make a lot of sense in this palette. I think that it was much better curated than the Enchanted, but in the Enchanted, I like the interesting nature of the I think keep going flying of these guys down here, and Metamorphosis is also quite interesting. The rest of the palette I could take or leave, but at least those 5 colors capture my attention enough that I don't regret the purchase. I will definitely have more to say on this brand once I've tried these palettes more. And then I had this delightful surprise sent to me by Jen Loves Reviews. She sent other things along with this little palette, and so I will have a video on that. And this one is called the Rendezvous eyeshadow palette, or Rendezvous. And it's just a neat set of 6 shadows, and I think that this is one that I could do a bunch of different looks just using these 6 shadows all on their own. And it does not come with a mirror, but I feel like it's just a nice complement or standalone that is very sleek and small for when we want something that is more practical than necessarily a ton of options. I hope you enjoyed this hodgepodge of different palettes. There were a lot of brands in this part 2 of my palette collection. Let me know what you thought of what it is that I paraded in front of the camera today. I look forward to your feedback. Do you have some favorites in this collection? Are there some that you would not touch with a 10-foot pole? Let me know. I would love to hear from you. We all have different tastes and different preferences, and that's fine. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it every single time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care.